In this episode, you will learn how to lay the supplied cables correctly so that your smart SILENO Max or smart SILENO Pro knows where its working area is. After all, the mower should avoid flower beds and other no-mow areas, as well as always find its way back safely to the charging station. We use two cable systems for this, the boundary wire and the guide wire. All of the cables are made of the same material and can be used for both. Let's start with the boundary wire. This wire marks out the mowing area. As soon as the mower comes close to the wire, it receives a signal, turns, and continues in a different direction. If you have a simple garden layout without many obstacles or narrow passages, you do not need a guide wire. In more complex gardens, however, it may make sense to lay one or two guide wires. In most cases, one guide wire is sufficient. If the charging station cannot be placed at either end of the garden, that is, somewhere in the middle with mowing areas or narrow passages on both sides, it may be helpful to install two guide wires. Before you start, it's important to know, guide wires need to be connected to the boundary wire at the end, ideally as far away from the charging station as possible. You should determine these points in advance, as an approximately 10-centimeter loop must be planned at the boundary wire there. Start at the charging station and leave 50 centimeters of wire as a margin for the subsequent connection. If the station is placed outside the lawn, for example in a flower bed or on a patio, make sure that the boundary wire maintains a minimum distance of 30 centimeters from the guide wire to the right and left of the center of the charging station. If you have more space, you can also lay the boundary wire on the right-hand side right up to the mulched bed. The following distances should be maintained along the edges of the lawn, 35 centimeters in front of solid walls so that the mower does not bump into them when turning and the trim-to-edge feature works optimally. This feature enables the robotic lawnmower to mow up to 1 centimeter from the edge of the lawn along solid boundaries such as walls and fences. For plant beds and gravel paths, 30-centimeter distance between the boundary wire and the boundary to prevent the mower from getting stuck. You can easily measure these distances with a ruler. A cardboard ruler is included as part of the mower's outer packaging and can be easily removed from it. It is also important that flower beds or gravel paths are at the same level or lower than the lawn so as not to damage the blades. In the case of paths, slabs, or lawn edging stones, a distance of 10 centimeters is sufficient, as the mower travels a short distance beyond the boundary wire and trims the lawn right up to the edge. If a flat path or slabs set into the lawn run through the middle of the mowing area, the mower can even simply drive over them. If there is a pond or swimming pool, you should keep a distance of 35 centimeters and install an additional 15-centimeter high barrier. Attach the boundary wire to the ground with hooks every 100 centimeters. Pull the wire tight and fix it in uneven areas so that it lies flat on the ground and the mower does not damage anything when driving over it. You can also bury the cable in the ground, but it will soon be overgrown by grass so that it does not disturb the view of your garden. You should also surround individual obstacles. When laying the cable to an obstacle, do not drive the hook all the way in so that you can fix the cable with the same hook on the way back. Always start on the side of the obstacle from which the wire is coming to avoid the crossing of wires, something that could lead to issues later. However, the mower recognizes many obstacles even without a boundary. If it hits an obstacle, it simply turns around. You can prevent collisions with the optional anti-collision radar accessory, which is super easy to install. Thanks to dynamic starting points, which are preset, the robotic lawnmower always starts at different points in the lawn to ensure even mowing, even if you're not using a guide wire. The guide wire allows you to manually define additional mowing areas if required. The guide wire is placed after the boundary wire has been laid. This allows you to guide the mower into remote areas or through narrow passages. The guide wire shows the mower the way back to the charging station when the schedule is finished or the battery is running low. On slopes, it is important to lay the wire diagonally from bottom to top so that the mower can get up the hill easily. Start by clipping the guide wire into the designated channel on the charging station. Run it at least 1 meter straight out before you lay it with the hooks up to the planned connection point with the boundary wire. Make sure that there is as much space as possible on the left-hand side of the wire, facing the charging station, ideally 135 centimeters or more. The mower never runs exactly on the wire, but always parallel to it to avoid the formation of ruts. On the other side, a distance of at least 20 centimeters from the boundary wire should be maintained, especially in narrow passages. To improve mowing in narrow corridors, simply define a remote start point for the corresponding guide wire at the start of the corridor in the app and activate the Corridor Cut function for this remote start point. This function allows the mower to work in a zigzag pattern to ensure that it also mows narrow passages reliably. Lay the guide wire up to the connection point with the boundary wire. Cut the guide wire and separate the boundary wire at the loop. Insert the 3 wire ends into the white-blue connector and press them firmly together to create a reliable connection. Otherwise, a link may not be established, and the LED at the charging station may start to flash. The connector cap is filled with grease, which makes it particularly weather-resistant. Repeat this process if you want to install a second guide cable.